Hello, everybody, and welcome back to round 365,496.257 of the faction rankings. If you're with us,
it does seem like we've been at this for a while. We're not even halfway through the list.
Yeah, there's a lot of factions when you break it down. Today we're going to be doing Salamanders, so if you're looking for Salamanders, we'll get right to that. But first, you need to subscribe, or the video is going to go black in 3, 2, 1. And if you didn't just subscribe, then the video you need to turn it off because you need to subscribe before you can watch this video.
Go watch our first ones that we've done on this so you understand the
Hit that bell
system.
notification so you can be notified as soon as we send out new content. We're always putting out new content. We do a lot of battle reports. We have these faction tier videos. We got a lot of content planned for you. We got some Crusade stuff coming up. We're excited about that. So if you like what we're doing,
I got my top knot on for you guys.
You got Damien on camera. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing, but we got him here. So let's jump into Salamanders. Let's go. You don't get to comment back.
All right. So
we headed out an S tier last video. If you've been watching and playing along at home, Admech or Guard, Astrometon.
So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to put this all to where the Space Marines are, and we're going to use that as where we're going to work from. Mainly, we're doing that because that's our base, and we're going to basically discuss if they are better or if they are worse than Space Marines, and maybe that's what we should do for kind of all the videos. So here's where we stand with the Space Marines. So Ultramarines, we did them as well. They pretty much got an extra defense and extra offense, but list flexibility went down a little bit. So Salamanders compared to Space Marines, they're more defensible, but why? And are they 9 or 10?
Ignore -1, stand your ground.
Yeah, you either got, you got the successor where you're picking stealthy, so you always have in cover, or you're picking just base Salamanders, which you're going to have, -1 AP. You ignore that, right? And +1 to your save, stand your ground, right? Those two strats right there, those two abilities, that really buffs up the basic infantry survivability by quite a bit.
So are they up to a 9 or do they go to a 10? Is there anything that gives them feel no pains or anything like that, or is it really just the AP that makes them tougher?
I think it's just the AP and the ability to get them that extra save on a specific unit. So if you want to transhuman and pop an extra save, like you can make a unit that looks like it should die.
I mean, they also have the other thing that might put them up though is they do have born protectors.
That's true. So if you need to protect a unit, you could just have a chaff unit or another unit in front that can durable unit.
I've used Terminators to do that before with Storm Shields and just protect some destroyers, and it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, so if you get unit aggressors or something that's super offensive, but maybe a little squishy, if they really target a lot of big guns at it, you can be just like, nope, you can't shoot at them. You have to shoot at this unit first.
It's pretty strong.
That is pretty strong. Like, that's your death unit that could just walk around unhindered, right? For a couple turns. That might be all you need.
I think I have to say I have to give him a 10.
Whoa. A 10?
I don't know, man. I think that with those two things combined is basically just as good as a feel no pain. That's how I would look at that. So we've been taking it off if they don't have feel no pains or native like that. But if you say, okay, I could ignore -1 or I could be in cover, I can make my save better, and I can make it so something can't get shot. That's really strong.
And then you can transhuman the unit that's getting shot at that you want. You know what I mean?
Like you can make the Terminator save better. Yeah.
All right. So
I think that's
10.
Yeah.
I think we can go with a 10. Like, it's certainly situational, but you can't do that on every unit. All right, so are they better than regular Marines on offense? I say 100% yes.
100%.
Are they points better? Because they have all the things, plus they have the super bonus. So, in tactical, they get the +1 to wound. They have to use the strat for +1 to wound. They can do what Ultramarines do for aggressors and just spend a strat that says you count as stationary, so they get to double tap even if they come in from reserves. They don't need to be Ultramarines to get to shoot twice.
And everybody gets to do 1 reroll of a wound.
That's true.
And,
that's a lot. Yeah, you talk about Eradicators re-rolling twice because you're basically shooting twice. 3 shots, re-rolling 1 hit, 1 wound, and then 3 shots again, hit 1.
Strong like
they also have the Overwatch of a unit that's within 12 of a charged unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got double Overwatch, strats, just like Ultramarines.
Yeah.
So
It's called self-sacrifice, and then you have to fight 2 units in combat at that point. So it's
well, you don't even have to get it.
Well, they
can just charge, and they can just get a free move out of it. So it's really powerful. You don't even have to make it into combat. It's you dig into the details of that strat. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which really can let you get extra movement on a unit that you thought was too far back to now be in position to charge next turn.
Sure can.
Or be in range with aggressors that you're like, oh, those guys are too far back. I'm strafe.
So, and then for like, if they have flamers, they can do like immolation protocols where all their weapons can just be like,
I'm dishing out mortal fools. I'm off hitting, like I'm doing max shots, like
Flamecraft where they have like max shots, all their flamers, or meltas, pretty gnarly.
So I think combine all that, I think that's 2 points, right? Like they're like really power on the firepower.
Bert, do you get extra points because you want something else to be tied with Astronaut?
No, I mean, like never been shot by salamanders. Just like I use aggressors all the time. I'm like, ho hum, and then they're like, oh, I'm on the wound, and I'm like, you can't kill me, and I'm like, well, that's not how my aggressors work.
They're really good. They are really good.
They're really good. 10 is fair.
So primary, honestly, I think like maybe
it's the same.
Maybe I think they're 1 point better because of how much more survivable they are and untargetable they are.
Okay.
So I would give them 1 more point just because you can make them harder to kill or untargetable on the objective.
That's right. You can throw a unit out on their front and they don't just walk away easily.
And you can also make like vehicles and stuff OBSEC. They can choose a unit a turn and make them OBSEC. So you can go and put a repulsor executioner and make it OBSEC on an objective.
Yeah, it's obnoxious. So I definitely would give an extra point as well. Secondaries, do they have anything extra special about their secondaries? I don't know that they do.
So
not particularly.
They're not using any different units than any normal Marines. They're just more efficient with those uses. So I think we're fine with the pluses and minuses on
CPs. This is where they're going to get hit.
This is where they're going to get dinged for sure, CP, because they want to use CP. They're not necessarily spending a lot pre-game, but they are, like you said, you're spending it here for this or that. You want
all their strats are awesome. All their strats are awesome.
You got so many. You like it's the question of the book, right? It's the admech book. Like, let me see that. That can't be right.
But they're not. The thing is though, like they're not reliant on the stratagems, right? If you're using them for 1 to 2 turns, that's typically enough for them to then be in a good spot.
But once you don't have Born Protectors or you don't have...
But it doesn't... your super unit's dying, your aggressors aren't shooting nearly as strong, or they're not getting a double shoot.
But does it matter by the time you run out of CP? Like, it's going to take 2 or 3 turns to get down to that point, right?
Unless they have like an assassin or something, right? Now they're like making you spend that extra... And that
they can blow 5 or 6 in a turn, no problem, right? Like you could be out of CP.
Right, but that's still 2 turns. That's still 2 turns of you being able to fully use everything. And if you're able to fully use everything, how much stuff are you killing, and how much stuff of yours is still alive then going into turn 3? Like the odds are in your favor, right?
I can't give them a max score or a higher score than regular Marines if they've used all their CP by the end of turn 2, right?
And that was kind of our bar for going by it, right? Like it wasn't how survivable are you from using the CP. It was.
Do you spend a lot? Do you have good strats? So you're gonna get pluses.
But it's also if you're reliant on it. And like I don't know if we said if they are reliant and normal Marines are reliant or not.
They are very reliant on the CP.
I think they're very reliant to make them more than what they are, right?
So if you think that's
after that they turn into
they would go down in points, and if you think that they are reliant.
I think there are 4.
I think 4, that's a stretch, but
okay, we'll put 5 then. I'm wrong.
There's nothing forcing you to spend, right? Like it's all again applied force, right? So if you don't have to use them all, you're in a way different situation. But again, to Brad's point, like if you're in a situation to use them all, like it better be worth it. But like you could just like obliterate your opponent, or they could just shoot their whole army at this critical unit that doesn't die, and now you're alive, right? So I would leave them kind of 5. I think they're a little less just because of all the spend that they're going to use than just base.
Okay.
And list flex. So it's interesting here because I think that it's kind of like you're going to always have your eradicators, right? Why are you taking
Salamanders? Why would you not take them? There's still point of figment.
You're going to have eradicators. And that, well, actually, as far as CP expenditure, that does go into pregame because you're most likely you're going to be outflanking some erratic riders for sure. So I'm just saying, as keeping it at 5 where it is now, I think that's a fair other justification for putting it at 5 because they are going to pregame spend that.
So you're saying that there's certain things that you're going to have to auto-include, which are aggressors and eradicators, essentially, if you're playing Salamanders. If you're not using those 2 units, you're playing them wrong.
I think so.
You're definitely not using the power that they have built in already, for sure.
But besides,
I also think you're also going to have like the, you're going to have the unkillable champion on a bike. You're going to have, other than that, I think they're fine. Yeah, for sure. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because they have the access to everything else, and all we're saying is there are some units that
similar to Ultramarines.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. There's just some units that you're like just naturally are better for Salamanders, so you're going to want to include those. So you don't have to, but you have every option under the sun. So
Salamanders are going to fall.
Oh! Don't tantalize me! Stop it!
Oh, they didn't make it to the S.
Nah, it's 48. So it's right in line with Craft World and AdMech.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I think a right Salamander list just obliterates a guard list, but I guess that all comes down to list building.
Depends. It depends on the mission, right? Get a hold 2 against the guard list. I mean, they might struggle a little bit more, right? Who knows?
Could get trouble. That could be trouble. But also, those aggressors pick those suckers up.
Yeah, I mean, it's all hearsay. It's all. It's so at the end of the day, everything is so dependent on multiple variables. What is the list versus list matchup? Yeah. Who are the 2 players? What is the terrain? And what is the mission? Like, it's really, really hard to factor in the exacts of what is better or worse than other things without setting up a game and saying, here's all the variables on the table and saying, here's the 2 lists, here's this and this. All we can say is, here's the generics, here's what we can see based on paper, numbers, experience, and yada, yada, yada. So it's like
just a surmising.
That's all you can do, right? And you get a relatively accurate ballpark, right? And that's all you're getting is you're getting an accurate ballpark. It's no different than if you go and do anything else and you play a character in a video game, let's just say a fighting video game, because that's probably the easiest terminology, and you say this character is like the best character in Street Fighter. Well, if you don't pick that character, you're always going to lose. Maybe a better player comes along with the worst character and is able to beat him. Like, you don't know. You just don't know.
Sure.
So it's hard,
It is very subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
That was our best contender to hit S. I don't know. I'm feeling like who's going to compete with that? Who's going to get higher than that? So
I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody else is placing up here.
Yeah.
Not the way we've been ranking them. Holy cow! All right. Well, there you go, Salamanders.
But like we said, once the new codexes come out in the next month, you're probably going to see a huge shift in all the Marines and Necrons. Like, who knows where I would assume Necrons are going to end up in BRC when we do this, and then once they get their new stuff, they're probably going to end up on the borderline of ANS.
Yeah.
I just want to play all these armies.
So. All right, well, that does it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you out on the next one.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.